Hi, I'm Adam Jennings, and this is Awaiting Approval, a podcast about the messy human side of creative leadership. Today, I'm joined by Odeya Noble-Bougay, Director of Product Design at Aviv Group, for a relaxed two-way conversation about her journey, the lessons she's learned, and what it takes to lead with creativity and honesty. Hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm really looking forward to this. To start us off, if we were meeting in person to record this, I would love to know, and it helps listeners and viewers sort of get to know you a little bit better as well. Where would you suggest we meet, and what would you order to drink?
So it's this time of the year where I love going alongside the canal, and I will take you for a walk on the canal. And there's a lovely boat there that sells tea. So we'll have a cup of tea and we'll walk along the canal. And it's just lovely. It relaxes me. I love
Oh,
walking next to water. So, and we'll talk, and I think it would be lovely. So.
what kind of tea would you have?
Just a normal tea, whatever they make. I'm not fussed about that. That's really not fussed about that.
So as it's warm and in a cup and by
Mm.
the
Warm and
river.
in a cup. Exactly.
Brilliant.
Exactly. Oh, that probably bitter. So a bitter tea. I don't like
Okay.
sweet stuff, so it will be a very bitter tea.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll raise a metaphorical bitter tea to cheer you on for your recording. And in the same vein of kind of getting to know you a little bit better, is there something either on your desk or around you or near you that tells a story or something about you that is sort of descriptive of who you are?
Yeah, I think that this one,
Oh, wow.
it's my pencil holder. It's in a Hornsey? Yeah, that's the Hornsey jar. I've got loads of them. I've got 7 of them here. Each one has a different type of pencils or brushes or paints in it, and I love them. And these most of them are sharp. I'm addicted to that, and I use them a lot, and they make me very happy. So,
And
mm,
that's fantastic that there is a sort of practical human touch creation just at arm's reach for
yeah.
you at any one time. I mean, one of the things I love to ask people, especially in this day and age, because most guests that come on here, most of their time, their craft is now digital. So I love to ask people, like, when was the last time you used pen and paper? I'm imagining it wasn't that long ago with
Yeah.
that kind of supply there.
Yeah. So all the time, all the time. I've got around my desk here, it's covered with Post-its, with different notes, with different sketches, different little scribbles like that on that I just then tear and yeah, all the time. I do that. I doodle a lot while in meetings. So, and I think that my team knows that already, that it just helps me digest.
Mm.
So,
I was going to ask if it helps you. I definitely find, especially if it's a long meeting and there's lots of people presenting, I actually take more information in if I'm doodling whilst I'm listening.
yeah.
Is that a similar sort of thing for you?
It is. I also take notes. So it's a combination. I take notes, I create mind maps. So it's a combination of that. And I think that then the doodling around it helped me to emphasize around the mind maps. But it just helps to prioritize, to group the information that I take
Mm.
in. Um, and and these days, of course, we record all of the meetings and we have an AI summary for all of them, of course, but still I need my notes. I need my kind of my summary of it.
Mm.
And I'm still using pen and paper for that. Yes.
You mentioned that you've got pencils there and brushes there. So is there also a
Yeah.
painter streak in you?
Yeah, I paint. I always painted. I always made things. So Yes, I paint as well. Less these days. These days, everything is much smaller, quicker, need to fit into a small bag, into a small pouch. So, and mainly watercolors these days, and less of oil or acrylic, which I used to do more of. And
Mm.
I miss that. I love painting on pieces of wood, of treated wood, like leftovers of furnitures, if it's a kind of an old door, or because it just, the brushes kind of, it just, the paint works quite smoothly on that. It's quite satisfying. So I have a really large collection, kind of hoarding size in in my garage, that one day I will start and paint on all of them. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
And are they just sort of wood that you find or items that you
Yeah.
find or
In the
like
streets,
on the
yeah,
sort of, yeah,
yeah,
I
yes,
love that.
yeah. My girls made me of collecting these things and kind of tucking them in the back of the car and kind of, "Mommy, you shouldn't do that. Why are you taking?" "Well, nobody needs it, and I'm gonna paint on it." So,
I love that. I love the, that sort of idea of art is where you find it, and where you find the collective pieces from is then part of the story as well.
yes,
Like for you,
exactly.
you'll remember where that piece of wood, you found that piece of wood or what was going on that day. And I really love that.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic story in season one of Awaiting Approval of Dave Zabowski's episode where he talks of going to the Met in LA and going sitting there and looking at a painting. He's been sat down, sort of hand sketching people as they walk around and just observing them, and he realizes that um, most people will look at a painting stood in exactly the same place as the next person, and he figures that it's probably where the painter stood in relation to his subject, and they're sort of picking up on that vibe, and that's where they are choosing to stand to look at the piece of work.
That's so
And
interesting.
yeah, and I love the idea that there is attached to that piece of work. It's not just about a perception, that there is maybe on some level that we don't fully understand, some kind of magnetic presence or attachment or something, or spiritual attachments, whatever it may be, that draws us to that place. And I feel like with the pieces of wood that you find that you then turn into art, there is all of that attached to those pieces as well, which is really lovely.
Yes, and I love to invite that kind of history and something with the past into this. It's just always, I think that it works also with I believe that the process of creation of, especially of digital products, it's a, there is that lovely phrase from that book that I like. I forgot the name of the author. Um, I'll look it up later. But it's about lighting one candle with each other. The creative process is about that. Is about lighting one candle with each other, and it's just so true and so beautiful and so much. The end result will be so much more powerful. The light will be so much stronger. So if you don't start with a white page and you bring into that a history of a piece of something that was made already, and it needs to be something that was made and treated,
Mm.
then it's got already, it just comes already with something that you can then enhance and work with. So
And what a great metaphor for leadership as well. Like a leader's job is to bring, people together, and you
yeah,
encourage the team to use their own skills and experiences
yes,
and build layer upon layer upon layer
help
to
them
create a
shine.
much more interesting story. Yeah.
100%.
Fantastic.
Help them shine and help them be in their flow, and then they'll be, yeah, they'll just bring the best out of them. Then and when they feel comfortable and when they feel in the flow, then you can just tie the connections together, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
Mm.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I've said this many times, and most people tend to scoff, and or sort of politely laugh and then never think about it again. I have a feeling that if I tell you this, you may go and try it. And if you do, I would love for you to afterwards come back and tell me. I have discovered that the best combination of writing implement and writing surface is a biro on the skin of a banana.
I love that. I know it. I've tried it.
Oh, brilliant.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? It
I
just
agree.
works.
Yes,
There's a smoothness and a
exactly.
flow, and
Yeah, I agree. I
I love
agree.
it. I love that you've tried it. That's brilliant. Well, on that fantastic note, what I would love to do, you're currently director of product for Aviv Group. Can you take us, can you go right back to the beginning of your career and take us sort of bullet point? You don't need to hit every place, but key milestones for you on your journey from when you started in the creative industries to where you are now.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try. I did think about it and I try to condense it. So we'll start because I think that that will help to understand a few things about me and few things about how things that I'm going to say then maybe later on. So I think that, as I said before, I love making things. I always loved making things, but it was always both sketching and holding a brush, as well as making things, building things, plugging them in, making them move. And, and when I went to, when I chose to, my subjects in high school, I went for electric engineering out of all things. Um, Probably not because it was all full of boys and I was interested in boys. That's probably got nothing to do with that, but that's where I ended up. And and that kind of gave me a doorway to then start my kind of to apply for a job and to a job in sound engineering, actually. So my first job was a broadcasting sound engineer in a radio station, and I really loved that. I had all of the things to plug in. I had that large desk with all of the knobs, and I had to set microphones, and I also had to do edit and paste in real editing and pasting of an actual thing. And that was exciting, and that allowed me also allowed me to live while I was doing my degree. So I started to do my design degree because it was always both of them together. And then my design degree was I studied visual. I think that the translation was visual communication design or visual design communication or something like that. But the important thing about it is that it was more than graphic design because it had also applied psychology in that and
Oh,
also aspects of understanding how we perceive information, how we learned, and I loved that bit of it. But then fast forward, I've graduated and I was doing, I was designing logos, posters alongside working part-time at the radio. I was living in Tel Aviv, having the time of my life. I was really happy. And my mum turned to me and said, go and get a proper job. And I was kind of quite stunned. I thought I had jobs. Well, I had lots of jobs. I had quite a lot of chaos going on. But she wanted me to have a proper job. So I did. I did listen to my mum. And I went and found a proper job. Um, and that was late 90s. It was the early startup scene. And there were many companies that were building all kinds of products and all kinds of digital applications that you would print on a CD-ROM and put into the computer. And human factor engineering was a thing. And I joined a small agency. There were 5 people. The founders were from a cognitive psychology background and were educators. And they were then providing design and usability services to that kind of booming market of computer-based applications. I joined the team there. We designed some beautiful things, and there was just the market was booming, and there was a demand, and we had to scale up. And I started to take part of the recruitment and started to scale up the team. And they asked me to then lead the department, and I did. Um, that was exciting time. It was quite intense, and it was wonderful. But then if we move kind of, now this is the part where I'm going to start and accelerate a little bit. Fast forward, we are in the kind of mid 2000s. I live in the UK now. I've got twin girls. They are 2 years old, and I worked for Deutsche Telekom. Deutsche Telekom in the UK was known more as T-Mobile, so telecommunications. It was a time where you had a new device and a new operating system. Every other week there was a new design, the new device with a new size of screen with a different input mechanism. You had the Windows, you had the Blackberries, you had the Symbian. It was all over the place. It was mad. And I think that I joined the team there as an interaction designer, it was called then, and I thrive in chaos. I like to organize it. I like to systemize it. I like to put things in place. And I very quickly was asked to then lead the team there. It was also, again, high demand, and the team scaled, and we built quite a massive team in Europe of 180 designers. And it was big and wonderful, and a lot of talented people. And we were taking all of the new operating systems that came to the market, and updating all of the T-Mobile services and applications to these kind of new technologies. There were no manuals for that. There was nothing. We had to create the work quite rapidly, to deliver it quite rapidly. And it was exciting. You had to learn something new every week and figure it out really, really quickly, and understand what was the thinking behind it, and apply it to all of our services. So I love that. I love to organize that. I love to kind of create a system to really downgrade the designs from the very high-end devices to the very low-end devices, basically creating that kind of scalable design even before it was a thing, and absolutely love that. From that, my next move was to join Rightmove, and I've built a design team there. This was kind of more design teams as we know them, with product designers, with a small research team, an analytic team, and we created, again, a kind of a beautiful a beautiful service that, when I was on the train and going home, I could see people around me using it day in and day out, and it was so exciting to be part of something like that. It's kind of, yeah, that was quite heartwarming, and you kind of think, oh, people actually use it. We're not just making it up.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then fast forward, I'm at Aviv, still in property tech, but doing it in a pan-European kind of way for a few markets together, with a wonderful team, and that brings us to now, I think.
Wow, that's fantastic, and so eloquently narrated as well. Thank you for that. There's so much to dive into, so I will kind of hop around as my ADHD brain picks up the things that got me sitting like a meerkat. Um, the first one was that very first sort of leadership position. The way you described it was sort of like, it felt like the natural next step within that organization, that's what you would do.
Yeah.
And the way you describe it, it felt quite calm. Was it a calm feeling at the time, or?
No, no, of course not. That was just the story that I've kind of wrapped around it. But no, it was many conversation. I was terrified of it. I've never had a position like that. and I was tossing and turning over it and asking more questions. And then at some point, one of the founders sat me for a conversation and said, listen, it's very simple. Either you get it or the other guy gets it. And I went, yeah, I'll take it.
Brilliant.
So that was the kind of the point where I've kind of decided to go for it.
Yeah, I love that. And it feels like from your facial expression as you say that, it feels like you look back on that decision fondly.
Yes, of course, yes, but I still didn't know what I was doing, but it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do at that point. It made my mum very proud, so that was important for me. As we said
Good,
before,
good.
that's an important thing. Um, but it was absolutely the right decision for me because yes, it was natural to me. There was something there that was natural to me.
Mm,
I would lead. I would put myself out there. I always
mhm,
have. So that was the first time where that type of where that skill or talent was rewarded. So yeah, it was
mm,
something that felt nice.
mm. So if you now sort of put yourself in the shoes of someone like you a few steps before that, a few moments in time before that decision, before you took that role, and that possibility might be coming up for them right now listening to this, what would you say to them about whether or not to take that next step if that opportunity is presented?
Oh, definitely take it. Why not? You can decide after that to do something else. Put yourself out there. If something is being offered to you, if you have the opportunity, 100% take it. I think that rarely these type of opportunities come without any without any potential support. There will be other people that has done it before that will support you. There will be people within the organization that will support you. It's okay to take a role like that and to say that you're afraid and you're not sure, but you still want it. And and that's fine.
Mm. I'm so pleased you said that. That was one of my biggest learnings at Microsoft. If you put your hand up and say, either I'm not quite sure what that means or what I should be doing, or I was the one that broke that. Can someone help me fix it? Whatever the break and fix may be, 99.9% of your colleagues will say, yeah, of course, and roll their sleeves up and help you or show you or guide you to the person that does know and can show you and help you. Um, and that was such a freeing moment to learn that you're not on your own, that you don't have to hide away and try and figure it out in the sidelines to then come and be confident in a leadership position to show that you know what you're doing. That is effectively giving yourself permission as a leader to say, I don't know, but we'll figure this out together,
Yeah.
or you as part of my team have expertise I do not, so I'm going to lean on you for that, and you can lean on me, vice versa. In other ways, in other times. That was such a freeing thing. So I'm really grateful for you to share that here
Yeah.
as well. Hi. If what we're talking about in this episode is resonating with you, the challenges faced are the ones that are in front of you right now, the path they've taken is your dream career path, whatever it may be, stick around until the end of this episode to find out how you can work directly with me to level up your leadership skills. Get 30 years worth of experience downloaded into your skill set in just 4 weeks. At the same time, meet amazing other design leaders as part of your cohort. Thanks for listening. I'll see you at the end. You mentioned, as you took us through the career journey, you talked about designing for physical media, CD, ROMs, and things like that. Um, and then you also talk about that wonderful moment of being on the train and seeing people using Rightmove. And it struck me, having designed all sorts of both digital and physical media. I love it. I love going into a shop and seeing a product that I've designed on a shelf, a CD cover or a book cover or whatever it might be. And there's still some legacy titles that are still out there that every now and again I'll just randomly see on a bookshelf. And I love seeing that. But it's not often that you see a digital product out in the wild being used in the kind of way that I can well imagine on a commute. Everyone's annoyed and hacked off with a huge long train journey and want to get a shorter commute or what have you. So, like, talk us through that feeling of seeing those people, and did you want to go and ask them
Oh,
questions about the experience, or you know?
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Um, it's so it depends. So there's different parts of it. Once it's just I think that one use case is when I was seeing people just kind of from the corner of my eye, because I knew the interface inside out, and I could kind of, and the brand as well, and I could see, and I could just recognize it. So then sometimes kind of at a glance it's a numbers game. You can kind of, I will count how many people around me are using it. So I would have my own counting going on in my head. And then the other use case is when someone sits just in front of me on the train and I can see what they're actually doing. But I'm trying not to, but I am very curious about what they're doing. And then I'm looking at the actual statistics of it, of how many they're scrolling, which one they are going into. Is it the first one, the second one, the third? How much time they're spending on this, on the second page? Where are they going there? So then that would be a bit more of a detailed, no, really nosy type of look behind someone's back. I tried not to do that, but sometimes I just couldn't help myself. But yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. If anybody's worried, I'm not doing that.
If you see Odeya on a train behind you and you're looking at Rightmove,
Yeah,
you know
just
what's going on.
don't worry about it. I'm not doing that anymore.
I love that. I really do. I used to have a very long train commute. I used to commute for 2.5 hours door to door each way. And
That's long.
I used that time to set up my first business. I was sort of freelancing and contracting during those train times with my employer of the time, knowing it was all above board and everything. But I used that time. But I got to the point where I couldn't do it because my first business was mostly clients in entertainment. And so the NDAs and the assets I was using, I could not use those out in public. Um, and I often had people looking over my shoulder, looking at my screen before I got to those kind of projects. And I do remember one time there was one guy who was not very obvious. So I opened Word up, and in 72-point letters, I just wrote, "Stop looking at my screen," and just left the screen there. To which there was a sort of hurried, "Oh," and then he sort of then found something incredibly interesting over the other side of the carriage. However, I think the ability for you to, it must have been fascinating for you to see, um, that's like the perfect user group, because it's not people who would sign up to be part of a user group session
Yes.
who you have to filter through that they sign up to it for their own reasons. It's also not timed, it's not controlled, it's not a set of given tasks, it's real world observation of the
Yeah.
product. That's fascinating. And
Yeah.
I could spend an entire podcast episode on that, but I won't.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I would love to know, when you think about all of those bullet points that you took us through, is there a particular time that you would go back to, you at the age you were then, but knowing what you know now? And if there is, what would you say to yourself?
So yeah, again, a little bit of a backstory there, but when I'm thinking back, then I was very lucky to start my career in a company that was founded by educators, by people who knew the profession and were really passionate also about creating the next generation of people that will know the profession and will take it forward. Um, and there were amazing managers, and it wasn't until I had a really horrific manager that I realized how bad it could influence you. And and I think that thinking back on that, when I later on in life had really some specifically one person that was not a great manager, and not a great human, and I think that at that point I probably would have loved to say to myself, just get out, don't stay, because it will take everything out of you. It will take you years after that to build your confidence, because it's something that sucks your energy in a way that the impact of that is really difficult. It just
Mm,
it really took me a long, long time to recover from that. Um, Made me a much, much better leader, and wanting to be the best leader that I can, and to learn as much as I can, and to develop as a leader. But um, at that point, really, that's what I would have told myself, and that's what I would have say to anyone. If it's bad,
mm,
if you feel that someone is on a daily basis sucking the air out of your room and your brain, um, leave.
mm,
Just leave.
mm.
So
I'm really sorry that you had to face that and deal with that. And I really appreciate you sharing that here and being so candid with it. And I think it's fantastic advice, um, because we're working in an industry that is full of emotion, and the product, no matter what discipline you create in, you are creating, and that comes from a place of soul and passion and energy and
yes,
emotion. And no matter how well you can remove yourself from the ego of the act of creation, I like to say I take pride in my work, but I'm not precious about it. So I welcome criticism, and I'm okay to receive that most of the time. There are some times where I'm incredibly invested in something, and receiving critique feedback is difficult. But if the person that's doing that either is not skilled at doing that, or, as you say, is not a nice human, then there
yes,
are underlying issues already. But
yes,
it makes it even more painful then to have that. And so if they're doing that and making it difficult on the day to day, and so on and so on and so on, um, it becomes very difficult as an emotive soul, as an empathetic person. It becomes very difficult to remove yourself. So
yes.
uh,
Yeah,
I'm glad that you did, and went on to bigger and better things. And I really appreciate you being candid and open and supportive of others facing the same situation.
100%, because it's something that is really, it takes you time to realize that you are in that situation, I think. Um, and it's something that maybe just as a reminder that yes, and I completely agree with you that we're doing a creative work that needs a flow, that needs a good energy, that needs trust, that needs things around you to elevate you. Um, and and when it's not, then that will really prevent you from doing a good work.
Mm.
So
And to me, it feels where I, having done this for so many years, like it's easy for me to spot when a creative conversation is happening, which usually involves tension to some degree, and when it's something nasty and,
yeah,
and not worth pursuing.
yeah,
And that's just come from experience of having both of those types of conversations lots, and figuring out, okay, this one I think is going to end well, no, this one isn't going to end well. Is there Can you sum up for you what the difference in those two conversations looks like, or what you look out for to avoid the latter and stay in the former?
yes, 100%. I think that it's a very delicate subject, but if I if I think about it, then the things that I look out for are there any people that dominate someone's voice, that keeps on that keeps on rising over other voices. And then the flip side of that, did everybody say what they think? Did
mm,
everybody had the chance to just kind of play it out and repeat it and take it in? Our people feel that that they have the space for that they have the space to take something in and build on that. Do you have that kind of in the conversation, these connections of someone says something and the other one, yes, and this also, and then
mm,
the idea starts to build, because this is where the energy kind of picks up. And this is always then, where the energy picks up. This is where people start to kind of to to get kind of, they get on the same page and they're starting to walk in the same direction, and you can feel that. And and I can almost imagine that, because I can visualize that as something that you can feel the energy kind of going through the conversation and picking up into and picking up upwards. And where the other type of interactions, you have people in corners. I will imagine it kind of more in corners in their own bubbles, very protective also.
mm,
So when something like that happens, then you can't move together. You will not move together. So the only advice, or the only thing that I would do in a situation like that and would advise other people to do, is to then break it down into the one-on-ones,
mm,
warm them up and bring them into that conversation again. As well as, of course, some ground rules for how to interact with each other. Many times, if you create a framework for that, then it's easier for people. If you give them a beginning of a sentence to use, then it will already steer a better conversation. So there's different ways to do that, but it is about noticing what is dominating the conversation. Is it one person, or is it actually going from one to the other?
mm.
Maybe would be. Does that sound?
Yeah, no, that sounds
Yes.
like a
Okay.
fantastic signal to look out for. Absolutely. And I think it's probably fair to say that everybody listening to this or watching this has been in at least one meeting in their career where there has been one person that holds the
Yeah.
microphone to use a phrase, and how disruptive that is on a scale of just being boring through to nothing gets done because we're just here to hear that one person. So I think that's a great signal to listen out to. And it makes me I'm so pleased. I know I've said it already, but like I'm so pleased that you're saying these things, because I think these are really useful, helpful um, insights that when you hear them, they're the kind of insights when you hear that go, well, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Why didn't
Mhm.
I think of that? And I think they're the best ones, right? The ones that make you go, why didn't I think of that?
Mm.
I think are always the best ones.
Thank
Um, oh, thank you. um, I would love to look at a moment, in your career. Maybe it's a project decision, maybe it's a creative decision, a leadership one, but something where a decision you made or a choice you made didn't quite go according to plan. What did you learn from that?
So, but again, yeah, I think that you know me by now. Then I need to provide some context to it.
Of course,
And
yes.
so I don't remember exactly the year, but it is just a little bit before Google created on their Android phone, the kind of the Google Day type of thing, that I think that you can still have it on the browser, where it kind of just gives you different updates or different widgets about your different widgets of the day. I think it was then. So it had the weather, and it had some of the news and your latest contacts and things like that, that you used to have on your home on your home screen on your phone. I think that that's what it was. So it was just a little bit before they came up with that. Um, and we were working on on a concept for Deutsche Telekom of a similar type of thing. And but this was really memorable for me. So I think that actually, now that I think of it, we were working on our own phone. We were creating our own phone, our own Deutsche Telekom phone device. So hardware and software. And that was part of the concepts that we were exploring for our home screen. And I was really lucky, so lucky to be in Berlin with a team that helped us to create a prototype that we tested with people, and they worked with they worked with one of the universities in Berlin, and we created a prototype that was a demi type of recommendations during the day that was all fueled by real people. So real people pushing real information. So the only information that we had was a GPS data of the person, of the people that had that kind of prototype on their phone, and we were pushing different information at different times of the day. So a bed night story when it was nighttime, a recommendation about a cafe that is very close by because we had the location, different things like that that were completely conceptually new at that time, and we were so excited about that. And I was buzzing. It was amazing. The whole concept. It was my first time of seeing a prototype like that working, and to look at the data, it was mind blowing for me. And the concept was beautiful, and the prototype was beautiful, and everybody was behind it. And literally a few weeks after, Google released their kind of new homepage, and it was kind of, oh my God. And the penny started to drop that who would want a service like that from T-Mobile, from their SIM provider? I mean, there was just no, just no connection there, no value. I mean, why would you want that? Of course that you wouldn't want that from your SIM provider, because we're just SIM providers. And that was so deeply sad, and so it just it really uh, it was just sad. I mean, it wasn't that tragic. It was just very, very sad.
Mm.
And it felt like the beginning of the end. So, and it was the beginning of the end, because a few months after we closed the design studio. I had to literally close and lock the design studio here in the UK, and it was very, very sad. But the learnings that I've learned, that experience of prototyping and that type of research stayed with me forever. The impact of that, I will always feel that it just makes me still excited thinking about it now. So that's one thing. The other thing that I've learned is that massive gap between a concept and to bring a product to the market.
Mm.
There's an ocean there. There's
Mhm.
so many things that can go wrong, and there's so many ways to do that. There's so many ways to cut it into the right MVP. There's so many ways to cut it into something that will have a really good market fit. There's just so much there that needs to be right. And a lot of these things are now these days, you can really accelerate them with AI, but the process and the type of stuff that you need to know, and the data that you need to have, and the levers and the elements that you need to work with them are still the same, and the ocean is still there. So
Mm.
I think that's what I've learned. Kind of concept is one thing, and it's great to have a fantastic concept that is also well tested, but there's an ocean between this and bringing it to the market, for sure. So.
Mm. And with that learning, is there something in there about the pace at which you progress a project forward? Like if you're enthusiastic about something and you really excited and energized about something, is it does it does it then warrant a bigger push to get there faster? I mean, I know getting
Oh,
to
yes.
market first is always good and blah 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 blah, but like from a creative point of view.
Yeah, of course it is, and this is why I'm talking about that minimal viable product, which I always prefer the minimum lovable product, because if it's not lovable, then yeah, slim chances that people will use it. So it is to cut that smallest unit that will be the way you are able then to cut it in a way that you can then iterate on it. So
Mm,
yes, but accelerate on the thinking, don't necessarily rush into doing, because you might put something out there that you cannot iterate
mm,
because you cut it in a certain way that cannot be iterated,
mm.
and already has some set kind of structure to it. So yeah, just invest a little bit more in that and cut it right.
With everything that you've done, everything that you've got out into the world, is there a piece of work that you're most proud of?
Um, no, it's not going to be a piece of work. It's going to be the things that I'm proud of are these moments, the moments that we talked about them before. That these moments where things fall into place, where a big team is 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 talking in the same language, is they are clear, they have a clarity of the vision, they have a clarity of the direction, and all of the pieces starting to move in that same direction. That is a magical point, and it's very, very difficult to achieve that. And when it happens, these are the points where I'm proud of. um you can't achieve that if you don't have the right people. So of course the team, the people who will take it forward, but then they take it forward, and then it's not mine, and the things that they will build will be relevant, will not always be the most beautiful ones, but will be relevant and right, functional.
That you tied it together beautifully at how the people come together
Yes.
regardless of form or function. It's the team working together under a
Yeah.
unified goal, effectively.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that's because I think that, and I'm saying that also because yeah, I think that maybe I said it already, but the output is really belongs to the team. But that
Mm,
moment of bringing them together is my job as a leader, and that's the thing that I'm proud of when it
mm.
works and when that magic start to happen.
There's nothing quite like it, is it, to see that?
Yeah,
Outside of work, not a work project, but something outside of work. What are you most proud of?
my girls, obviously.
I thought that might be your answer.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. Yes. Um, the people that they are, um, they are exciting and make us laugh and fill me up in just so many ways. I enjoy their company. They're good company. They're good fun. So yeah, we're a family that loves music. We go to gigs together. We go to music festivals together. We've been going for years. Since they were 3 years old, we would drag them to music festivals. And we enjoy our time together. It's very, very precious, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for them for wanting to spend time with us. So because
Mm,
they don't live at home anymore. So
mm.
yeah, very, very proud of them. Very.
Yeah, what a lovely answer. Thank you. Um, you mentioned when you were talking about um, choices that didn't go as planned and you learned from. You mentioned about the speed of pace when delivering or designing for physical, mobile, or telecommunication products. And I love that because there's a huge parallel with everything that's going on in the creative, well, that's going on in every industry right now, but let's stick to just the creative industries with AI and tech, rapidly emerging tech that's changing the landscape. Given your experience with the handset development and how rapid that was and the change that's happening there. What's your word of advice for two groups of people? Those that are entering the creative industries at junior level with everything happening, all the changes going on, and those that have been in it for a long time but have been out of work for a long time.
That's a very, very difficult question. Um, there's no easy answer to that. I think that I I'll start with what I'm saying to myself also all the time, reminding myself because it's really easy to forget that the people that we design for we're still designing for people. Their
Mm,
brains didn't change.
mm,
Their capacity for learning hasn't changed. Um, to a degree, I think that it's different for neurodiverse people. I believe that their brain, and that's a something else. I believe that yeah, probably this is completely me going off on one, but I believe that the neurodiverse mind is the mind of the future. So there's a reason why there's so many neurodiverse people. I really believe that
yes.
they have the mind of the future. So and I'm saying they like I'm not one. I'm definitely one, but I just don't know which one I am. But anyway, but what I'm if I go back to your question, it's the we are building still for people. We're building digital products in whatever tools we will use to build them, in whatever speed we will build them, we are still building for people. So that's something that always gives me hope and give me kind of anchors me back in that. It's still important how people will interact with it. It is still important to that discovery part of it, the research part of it is still important. The testing of it, the understanding. If we want to design for people, and we are designing these things for people to consume, then that part is always still important. So what I would say then from that is make sure that you know how to do that. Make sure that you understand the different tools that can allow you to do that, because it's not about the tools to build something faster. It is about then when you bring that to the market to understand whether or not that thing that you bought, that you built is of value. Is it being adopted? Can it be adopted more? Is there a market fit? And all of these things, all of the things that you need around it, these are the things that you will need to learn how to do and how to use technology to help you to do that and to answer these questions quicker. But
Mm,
all of these are still relevant and I believe that they will still be relevant.
mm. So do you hold, I mean, that's a very hopeful answer, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, so am I correct in taking from that that you hold a great deal of hope for the future of the creative industries?
So as I said, it depends on the day. You know, there's days when it's just there's so many new tools and and things move so rapidly that I don't feel like that every day. But I
Mm,
remind myself that every day um, because I think that it will. So I do think that there is a hope for it, and I do think that it will. It's that we're going through some kind of a turbulence, really, really heavy ones. But at the end of it, there will still be a place for creative industries. So yes, I am hopeful actually,
mm,
but just not every day in the same kind of way. So
mm. No, I get you. I
yeah,
get you. There's a number of factors that affect us on a daily basis, all
yeah,
of us, neurodiverse or not. And hello, yes, I'm
yes,
one of the group. Count me very heavily into a squirrel into that group. Absolutely 100%. Um, uh, but yeah, I think there's a lot as well of fear mongering that goes on around everything. I've often said that I think one of the biggest maybe 18 months ago, 12 months ago, one of the biggest threats of AI was actually not the tech itself, was actually not what it was doing, but was what was the false perception of the threat that it posed.
Yes.
I think there were lots of people in decision-making positions that did not understand the full extent, or rather the lack of extent of capabilities of AI at the time, and the time it's going to take for tech to actually catch up with where those fears are. That's not to say that the rate of change in tech is not having a negative impact on the industry in terms of job losses. It is very much
Of
so, but I
course.
think
Yeah.
that's coming from the fear of missing out, the fear of, oh, well, we're not doing the right thing if we're not downsizing and restricting headcount and so on and so on in favor of cheaper, faster tech.
Yeah.
But I think, to come back to your point earlier, that the human element is still very much and will always be needed within this.
Yes.
And so I share your hope. For me, the hope comes from, I hope that what happens is we can hand over all of not just the menial things, but just all of the stuff that we have collectively decided is important and needs to happen, so that we can actually focus our human brains and human intelligence and human hearts on the really, really important things that we mustn't leave to technology to sort out, that we must sort out as humans. I
Yes.
hope that we can shove all of this stuff to one side, not just the washing and the cooking and the cleaning to robots, but the all of the other stuff that really isn't that important,
Yes.
so that we can focus on the really big things.
Yes.
So as we're coming to the end of this episode, there's one final question. It's the same question that I ask all of my guests. Are you, Odeya, still awaiting approval?
Absolutely not. And sometimes yes. So I think absolutely not when it comes to anything. I think that when you climb up the seniority, then your area of responsibility, you become autonomous within that, and that's great. But then you start to go into all of the areas that are more of the strategic areas and business decisions, and then you've got a lot of people that take part in that decision, and then you've got to await the approval of the board of directors, of the investors. So, yeah, so that's the no and yes. I'm still thinking.
I love it. This is your opportunity now to promote anything you want to promote. Like, how can people get in touch with you? Where can they find you? What have you got going on in your life?
So I am on LinkedIn, and that's the main platform, I think, and people are I'm very happy for people to contact me through that. I think that my name and surname is quite unique in that respect. It's quite easy to find me. So please get in touch. I'll be happy to have a conversation.
Fantastic. Odeya, thank you so much for joining me on this one. It's been a really lovely chat.
Thank you so, so much, Adam. It's been lovely.
If today's conversation got you thinking about your own growth as a creative leader, then my program, Supercharge Creative Leaders, might well be the next step for you. It's a 4-week cohort designed to help those in leadership positions and those aspiring to be in leadership positions to lead at a world-class level. You'll learn how to communicate with impact, grow your confidence, and lead teams that thrive, all without losing your creativity. It's a mix of pre-recorded video sessions, live Q&As with me and the rest of your cohort, and an incredible community of peers who will support you along the way. People who've already been through the course have gone on to win new roles, land promotions, get huge multi-million-dollar pitches, and they all put it down to the course and the confidence it gave them. So if you're ready to get noticed, get promoted, or finally step into that dream role, join the next cohort. Head to growwithadamjennings.com and sign up to Supercharged Creative Leaders. I can't wait to start working with you. Awaiting Approval is a Cordial Fox production, hosted by Adam Jennings, produced by Adam Jennings and Jasmine Egner.